Welcome back to the advanced course on Tableau. In the previous tutorial, we loaded up our data, created some folders, organized our workspace, and today we're finally starting. Today we're talking about groups. Now, groups are a feature in Tableau. I wanted to say powerful feature, but the thing is that in this course and even in this section, we're going to learn much more powerful tools that we have at our disposal. So let's just go ahead and call groups a feature. Because as you will see, they're very easy, they're pretty straightforward, and they're essential to know and sometimes use. And we will learn all about them in today's tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. And right away, we've got a very unique situation. Here, what we can see is in our dimensions, and this might not be the case for you if you're doing this tutorial a bit later, this might be different, but just observe in that case what I have in my Tableau right now. If you go through the dimensions, you can see they're all blue, except for year founded. It's for some reason highlighted in green. And as you recall from our standard course on Tableau, dimensions should be blue and measures should be green. So you can see that measures are in green here. And what this looks like is a type conversion error by Tableau, or type analysis error by Tableau. And obviously, if it's something in here, it should be a dimension, so it either should be in blue or it should actually be in measures. And if you drag it onto the chart, you'll see that it's actually in green and it is being seen as a measure. So let's go ahead and fix that. We'll just take year founded and drag it into measures. And now it's in here, but we actually want it to be a dimension because these are the years. So when the companies were found, we're not going to be adding them up or anything. This is more like a categorical variable for us. So now we're just going to drag it back. And now you can see that it's in blue. So there you go. That was a very unique situation. That's like, I guess, seeing a white rhinoceros. All right, let's take a year founded and drag it into columns. Now, what we're going to do is we want to find out how many companies were founded in each of these years. So let's go and look for a number of records and drag it into rows. And right away, we get a bar chart. That's exactly what we wanted to see. So as you can see, the venture capital fund is analyzing 1,000 companies, most of which were founded in 2009 and onwards. And still a few were founded in the previous years. So now what you might want to do is say that you want to analyze all of these together. Like they're so insignificant that there's no point in analyzing them separately. And for the purpose of your analysis, you want to put them together. You want to put them together in a group. And that is when groups come into play. So groups are ways you can combine elements of your dimensions. So in this specific case, we're looking at a dimension which is called year founded, and we want to group these elements, 1999 to 2008. So basically, we want to group these years into one group within this dimension. So basically, what that means is you have to have a dimension to create a group. And now if we select them, or actually we need to select the years themselves, and then we put our mouse over any one of them, what you'll see is in the tooltip you have this paperclip icon and it says group members. So let's go ahead and click that. Right away what you can see is they have been combined together, and the total for those years has been represented here. So if I right click now and I change the name, so edit alias, and I say before 2009, then now I have a new element in my dimension. And in fact, I have a new dimension. So if you look here, this is the old dimension. It hasn't changed. Well, this is the new dimension. So if I take the old dimension and I drag it instead of the new dimension, we still have the old chart. But now I have a new dimension which no longer has these years, which only has a year or a category which represents all these years. So if I drag it here, you will see exactly what I mean, that we only have this category here. And now basically we're working with a new dimension which only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories. Now let's say you wanted to fix up this group. Let's say you wanted to include 2009 in the group and have 2010 onwards separately. You can easily do that. If you right click the group and click edit group, you can expand this group here and then just take 2009 and drag it into the group. Or Alternatively, if you drag it out, you can select here, you can select add to this group and it'll be added. Then you click apply and there you go. Now you just have to, of course, change the name of the group because it's not before 2009, it's before maybe 2009 and before. All right, so that's how you can create a group using your chart. Now let's look at another type of group. When would you want to create a group? Here we'll just call this years, and this one we'll call industries. So here, let's look at industry and we'll put it into rows, and we want to see the total number of columns, or let's say we want to see the total number of employees in each industry. So we click total over there, and let's say we don't want to look at sum of employees, we want to look at the average number of employees in these companies, and let's sort it by number of employees like that. So when would we want to create a group here? Well, let's say that your industries, here we've got IT services, we've got software, and there was one more somewhere here, computer and hardware. So we've got three industries which are kind of related to IT in general. So how about we combine them into one industry? We create a group for them. So we can do it through the chart. So once again, if we select them and we bring, well, you have to press Control to select them. We bring up our mouse, we can use this icon over here, or we can go to the industry dimension and right click it. We go to create and then go to group. And here we want to select the industries that we're looking for: IT services, software, and where was the other one? Computer, hardware, right? So we want to group them, and this one we'll call it information technology. Click enter and then click apply. And now, as you can see, nothing has changed here, but that's because we've just created a new group and we still have to drag it onto our rows shelf. Once again, let's order that. And now we should see that we have information technology. And once again, if we want to add another element, let's say telecommunications, very easy to do. You just go to industry group and edit group, and then you find the one you want to add. So here we're looking for telecommunications, and then you just add to your group and then click apply. All right, so we've learned how to create groups and how they work. Let me show you one more quick thing, because this is an advanced course and I really want you guys to understand everything to the depths of the depths that how Tableau works. So let's drag average employees onto a label. And let me just format this quickly so we can see a bit better and a bit more. Right, so those are average employees right now in each of the industries. Now, when we group, there's always, when you're grouping something that is calculating average, there's always a risk or a concern. Maybe the grouping is going to count the average of averages. So let's take two more, for example, here. Let's take construction and environmental services, right? So when I group them right now, if I turn them into a group, will this resulting category, will it have the average of averages, or will the average be calculated correctly? So what I mean is, right now there might be 10 companies in this sector, and there might be 5 companies in this sector. So the average for those 5 companies is this, for the average for those 10 companies is this. When I group them, will Tableau take the average of these 2 values, or will Tableau take the average of the 15 values? The correct approach would be to take the average of the 15 values. Let's go ahead and see what Tableau does. So I'm going to click group and I get 61.1. So let me bring up a calculator, and here we will see what would have happened. So if I click Ctrl Z, and now I take 57.9 plus 78.0 divided by 2. So this is what the average of averages would be, 67.95. Now, if you group them, we get 61.1. So what that is telling us is that Tableau is smart. It's not taking the average of those 2 averages. It's actually taking the correct average, number of employees for all of the companies in these two industries. And that is important to understand and also important to know, because that will give you confidence when you are using groups, that what you've essentially done just now, what we've done here, is not just put together the result of the aggregation of the two groups. So we've actually changed the metadata. We've changed, we haven't changed the data because we can't actually, whatever we do here doesn't change the data set itself. But we have changed the data that Tableau is working with. So now in Tableau's perception, these two industries are actually one industry. And all the companies, so 5 plus 10, the 15 companies belong to that industry, and any aggregations that you do will be done correctly. So that is why Tableau has 61.1 here. All right, so that's all for today. That's how you work with groups, and that's how you can use them to adjust your metadata if that is required. And in the next tutorial, we will start talking about sets. I look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, happy analyzing.